Hey there, it's MarVeena. I wanted to welcome you to my Angelic Healing Protocol. And for those of you that are new to my video presentations, if you want to maybe light a tea candle and burn some incense, that's just a really good way to kind of send out a signal to the universe that we're aligning ourselves with the light, and it helps to raise the vibration in your surroundings, and that helps you to elevate your own personal vibrations. And I think it helps us to get downloads in a much stronger way. So the first thing that I want to do is welcome everybody to the call today, to the video. And I will have some time towards the end of our presentation to do a little bit of Q&A. So if you can hold your questions till then, maybe make a note of them, and then I will see if I can answer them later on. So I am recording the video, and you will be able to see the video later on if you want to. So you don't have to take notes. I have a lot of notes because there's just a lot of little things that I wanted to remember to add to our call today. And so I've got my notes all over the place, so you'll have to pardon me while I'm looking for another point that I wanted to talk on. So I thought the first thing that we'll do is a prayer to call in our guides, angels, and teachers. And so if everybody would just close your eyes and just create the intention that we are totally surrounded by the pure white light of Christ. Nothing but good can come to us today, and nothing but good shall go from us, and we give thanks. Divine Creator, Divine Creator, Divine Creator, Divine Archangels, Divine Archangels, Divine Archangels. I call upon the personal team of guides, teachers, and angels for myself and for everyone who is watching this presentation to be present. We ask for information that can be beneficial for these angelic healing protocols for the highest soul good of all parties concerned. So be it, and so it is, and so it shall continue to be. Aho. All right. So in some of my videos, we've been getting a lot of orbs, and anytime that the angels are really close to us, you might see like these little bubbles or pops or splashes of light that just kind of fly out of nowhere. So it's really exciting, and it's a great confirmation that our angels are close to us. So one of the reasons that I feel so strongly at working with the angelic realm and using these healing protocols is that there are so many animals in my life, and it's the animals that have taught me to be creative and to be strategic about how I use the angelic realm to kind of get some really amazing cooperation and healing. I know a lot of you have some really serious health things that you're working on, or you have special loved ones who have some major health considerations. And I know that you being able to be of help is a priority, and it's very important to you. So this can be a great kind of something like a tool that you can add into your toolbox, or several different tools that can help you to have a more powerful way of bringing healing and bringing balance and peace back to either a loved one or an animal or even a situation. So one of the things that the angels taught me first is that when you feel like yourself or someone around you, or even a catastrophe like a flood or any other kind of disaster, when you feel like somebody needs a healing, is that we really get perspective, and we be very sure that we are not infringing on the free will of that person that we might want to be sending healing to, or that we're not overriding a karmic piece of business for ourselves or for someone else. And that is such a touchy thing, and that we have to be very careful that when we send healing energy, that we're not negating something that they might really need to participate in. One of the ways that we can do that is by making a declaration that as we send that person energy, that they can accept that energy or they can reject it. And we say, "Thy will be done, not mine." I like to use a triple invocation to call to a spirit that I might be sending energy to. So for instance, if I'm concerned about my mother and she lives a long ways off, and I really can't I can't be there in person to do a Reiki session or an angelic healing type of a session or ceremony, I can engage with the Holy Spirit and with the angelic realm and with her spirit. And I do that in a triple invocation. So this is a way of bringing all of these elements together in a powerful way and pinpointing where we want our healing to go. I feel like it's a lot more powerful if we can really like narrow it down to who it's going to. If we have a situation like, for instance, in North Carolina where they're having the floods, then it's harder to really dial down to one area unless we know it, like Orange County, North Carolina, or Charlotte, North Carolina. But anyhow, like if we're sending it to a person, then I call their name 3 times, and that is a great way to really zero in on their energy. If you are very familiar with someone, it's much easier to kind of direct that energy towards them. If you don't know them very well, then one of the things that you can do is create like a card, a healing card for them, like a business card is the idea. You can put what you do know about them on that card. So if you are watching Facebook and all of a sudden there's a prayer request that comes across for somebody, and you feel really compelled to participate, the more information that you know about that person needing the energy, the more likely that you're going to be able to really zero in into their energy matrix and bring a blessing to them where they can use that extra energy and whatever it is that you send their way. There are times where we don't have that information, but if I can, I try to find out their first name and last name. You really don't have to have their birth date, but you can use their birth date, anything that you know about them. So if you have a business card with their phone number and their email and their name, that is a useful tool to really zero in on their energy matrix. But if you don't, you can write what you do have on a piece of paper. And I like to use either a square for balance and strong foundation, or in the shape of a triangle for transformation. So you can just kind of use your intuition about what sort of a shape that you want to have your card in. But I'm going to show you one of the ones that I use right here. So I just use, I don't know if you can see it here, but this has their phone number, their name, the name of their company, their logo, and just just a handful of things about them. And I like to draw a symbol, like a healing symbol or some sort of a magical symbol that resonates to you, or that you might feel resonates to them, or is something that's particularly special to them. So I have the five-pointed star. So this is a star that signifies, with the top of the point, the descent of the soul into matter, into flesh, through the four elements. So, and it's surrounded by a circle, which is representing the continuity of life, the continuity of the journey of the soul. So it's a very important and powerful symbol to me. And so I use that as a way of bringing that blessing to that person. Another way of making your connection to them and sending out some blessings is to hold the paper up to your heart. So I don't know if you can see my heart here with in the screen in the shot here, but let your heart energy just stream into the card, and the card is a representation of that person. It's especially useful if that was indeed their business card, and so they had their personal energy on it, then it really can just go straight to the source. But if it's a card that you made up, then you use your intention. And one of the ways that the angels have taught me is to create this strong representation of that person, is to call the hermetic laws of similarities, and it's like a way of bridging your individual sense of self and expanding your consciousness to include that aspect of you that is also connected to them through creation and through the Holy Spirit. So you just call, I call the hermetic laws of similarities, and I declare that this card represent all aspects of my mother, Barbara Wells, through the hermetic laws of similarities. And then you call her name, or if you don't know their name, then you just speak what you do know about that person. But in this circumstance, I know her name, Barbara Wells, Barbara Wells, Barbara Wells. And then what you want to do is to make a declaration of intention. So I intend to send you freely all that heals, harmonizes, blesses, and nourishes. You are free to accept or reject this healing. So when we add this caveat into our declaration, I intend to send you freely. So we're declaring to her that we're not going to hold it over her that she owes us anything for this healing energy or this balancing energy, that we're sending it freely. And we're also making the declaration that she can accept or reject this energy. And so that is a great way of kind of covering your own butt. It's like an insurance policy, that she knows that we're not forcing her to make a choice for healing if healing is not the top of mind for her higher self. So there are times where a soul might choose to participate in a traumatic injury or an illness or some sort of painful process. And it is a way that that soul is helping that ego personality to learn to maybe process some of their own stuff. They might be going through a clearing time, and they need to work with their disappointments or their pain. They need to engage with it themselves in some way or another. So in that circumstance, when you send this energy, this healing opportunities and energy to them freely, it's a great way of saying, I'm sending you like a care package, and you can use it all at once. You can use it a little bit at a time. You can save it for a rainy day, but I'm sending it to you freely, and thy will be done, not mine. And so it's a great way of providing something that can be beneficial to them, that can be helpful, that can be a saving grace whenever they might be really lost in the muck and the mire of, you know, working their shadow pieces or whatever it is that they're processing or working through. It's like we're kind of sending out a hand that they can hold on to, and that they can pull life force energy to them that can help them to work through their pieces. They just want to remind me of that old saying where you teach a man to fish, and it's like if you give them your fish, it's like you feed them today. But if you teach them your methods for fishing and therefore creating for themselves, it's like you give them something that they can benefit from the rest of their life. And it is so important that we rein ourselves in from being the fixer and like, oh, I'm going to take over this situation, or I'm going to make it all better for you, because there's just so many times where they, for whatever reason, whatever crazy reason that is beyond our comprehension of our ego, there's something to do with what they have chosen that their soul deemed to be important. Rather we can appreciate it or not, or rather their ego can understand it or appreciate it. And I know from my own personal experiences how hard that can be, and that can feel when it's your family and your loved ones or your special little animals. But when we can pull ourselves back and get perspective and get out of judgment, I think that is a really huge thing to wrap into our lesson today, is not to judge the situation as bad or as terrible. And it's always a challenge for me too. So I realize that it's a challenge for all of us. But when we can get perspective, and often a different perspective, then we're going to have more of a ability to bring our magic to the situation, and our different ideas, different ways that they might be able to regain balance or heal, or come back into vibrant well-being, or to maybe accept the circumstance and to work through it with grace and with peace. So it gives us, when we have perspective where we're not judging, we have more options that we can access, more of the tools in our toolbox, not just the tools that we have gained in this lifetime, but perhaps tools that we've gained in other lifetimes. And it helps, it's easier for the angelic realm to kind of work their magic. So that's a huge thing, is to stay out of judgment and to kind of keep our perspective. It can be very, very helpful. One of the things that I like to do when I'm for instance, working with the animal kingdom, rather it's one of your personal animals or a wild animal. And I have all sorts of opportunities to do this, and more than what I really wanted, because I've been doing Reiki for over 25 years now. And when I first got into Reiki and working with the angelic Reiki and the angelic kingdom, I was very gung-ho, and I'm like, I want to heal the world and all of the owies and bring it on. I really want to just immerse myself in this and just see what I can do and what can come from this amazing opportunity. And I'm going to tell you what, that whenever you have those desires, the universe will just work overtime in bringing opportunities for you to engage your healing practice with your animals and with people, friends and family, dropping left and right and getting all kinds of different problems. And so it helps you to learn the hard way. And I'm not recommending that. So, but I finally had to kind of readjust my declaration and just kind of send out the intention that I'm willing to be of assistance where I can and when I can. But for my personal animals and family, you don't need to work overtime or volunteer to have a problem in order for me to kind of work through my learning curve anymore. Because I will tell you what, it can be very overwhelming. But when you're engaging with the animal kingdom, a great protocol is to do your triple invocation. So for instance, divine creator, divine creator, divine creator, divine archangels, divine archangels, divine archangels. And I particularly want to highlight Archangel Ariel, 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 3 times. And then you call upon the divas on the land through the Archangel Ariel. So you address the Archangel Ariel. Thank you for helping me to connect to the divas on the land that work with the animal kingdom in particular. And then you want to engage with the divas, and you just want to get the divas on board. So you do that through intention, and I just verbalize it. So I just say, thank you, divas, for helping me to connect to this horse, and just let him know that all of the techniques and the medicine and whatever I'm doing, that I'm intending his highest soul good, and that his free will is in place. Thy will be done, not mine. And I'm going to tell you all that is just that little piece right there, with engaging in the Archangel Ariel and then engaging with the divas on the land, can be just a huge turning point in working with the animal kingdom and kind of getting them to cooperate because when animals are in pain, they don't care who loves them or who feeds them, or if you look nice or you look like they don't care. And there's times where you can be doing your very, very best to heal them or to bring balance or just to help them through their trauma or through their pain, and they're doing their very best to kill you. And there's no exaggeration. So I have had many opportunities to engage with this protocol, and it's very, very helpful in it's getting on board with your desires, not just the angelic kingdom but it's calling the earth divas that that can communicate to your animal and help them to maybe stabilize and participate with whatever it is that you're wanting to do, whether it's hands-on healing or the Tellington tea touch, or doing the tapping, or doing the herbs or oils or massage, or even allopathic medicine, giving them a shot, or bandaging wounds, or getting them out of a barbed wire fence, whatever it is. I've seen it all over the years, and when we can get the divas on board, it can help to calm them when nothing else can help to calm them. And so that's one of the reasons that I like to recommend that protocol. And then it's like we're able to get into their matrix and to make whatever adjustments that that we feel like we need to make. So just remember that protocol when you're working with the animal kingdom is to call the divas on the land. So if you are wanting to like send healing to, say, for instance, a wildfire or a flood area or an earthquake or hurricane or whatever sort of natural disaster, then you do your triple invocation and you call to the Archangel Ariel in particular and ask for a connection to the divas on the land in, say, for instance, North Carolina. I request your blessing and particular attention on the animals that are being traumatized or victims of the weather conditions or whatever it is that are going on. And then you ask and intend to pull out of the ethers of the earth and of the universe whatever healing components can be a blessing to those victims, whether it's the animal kingdom or the human kingdom or whatever it is. So you can stream to them through your own energy matrix. You can pull out of the ethers, both of the earth and of the universe, through your intention, qualities that can be a vibrational support. So for instance, you can pull healing sounds. You can intend healing symbols. So if you are familiar with the Reiki symbols, you can stream the healing Reiki symbols, but there are many other symbols that can have really powerful healing components about them for different beings. So just create that intention to stream healing symbols. I like to stream in sounds that can be a vibrational support, colors that can be a support, can be healing, stream in minerals, frequencies, tones, whatever it is that you feel compelled to stream in. So I always like to bring in light, love, and love, light. And they're different things. It's like they're similar, but they're different. But the vibration is very high, and it helps the ego personality of either the person or the animal to kind of move up a notch so that they can get some information from the higher self. And that can help them to stabilize and to calm down and to kind of pull in and use the resources that are being offered to them. A lot of times you can send a incredible amount of energy and support, and for whatever reason, sometimes people are just stubborn, or animals are just stubborn, that they want to they want to do it by themselves. That was probably like one of the first sentences that I ever had when I was a little girl is, I can do it by myself. And so I'm one of those stubborn people. But over the years, I have had the opportunity to experience other healers sending me healing energy. And so I know that that prayers can be powerful, and the angelic realm, whenever they stream to you healing and vibrational support, that if you can say yes, that it can be a huge support and help you to just realign things and get back into balance so much faster. All right, so I wanted to show you some of the tools that I particularly like to use for engaging the angelic kingdom whenever I have something going on with different people or situations or animals. So on a couple, probably about 30 minutes ago, I put a couple of images on this page, and I don't know if you can look at them without coming off the video, but one of them is it's a crystal grid. And a crystal grid is an incredible way to create a portal for the angelic realm to direct healing energies to whoever it is that you're wanting to direct healing energies to. So I like to use a crystal grid, and it's not like like a game changer, like however many crystals that you want to make your grid out of. But 8 is a really good number. It brings a lot of, I want to say, balance and stability. When you're working with someone that is going through like a chaos spin with disease or with illness, then balance and stability is an amazing gift. So I use 8 crystals. You really don't have to worry about all of them being the same color or the same sort of crystal. You can use a combination of minerals and of crystals. I prefer real crystals rather than like glass crystals, although if you had to, you could use those. But we have a lot of minerals and a lot of crystals that we have access to. So I just think it's a lot better to use a real mineral or a real crystal when you're putting together a angelic healing grid. So this is an angelic crystal grid protocol, and I just hold each of the stones as you're picking out your 8 minerals or stones or combination. I just hold them up to my heart, and I ask that the healing energies from the angelic realm would be infused with this crystal or with this stone or this mineral for the purpose of well-being or vibrance or healing for whoever it is that you're directing your energy to. So yesterday I had a situation with one of my horses where he had a colic episode, and for those of you that have horses, it's like you say the word colic and it strikes fear and panic in a cowgirl's heart like nothing can. But I used a combination of the protocols that I'm talking about and the grid to help stabilize the horse and to kind of help him back into well-being and to feeling better. So as you're holding up these the minerals or the crystals to your heart, you ask the angels to hold a space for well-being, for balance, for vibrancy, for love, for health, whatever qualities that you feel that that animal might be needing, or that person might be needing. And so what I like to do is name one quality to each stone or each crystal. So for instance, if you're wanting to, one quality that you're wanting to bring is, say, peace, then you charge one of your crystals and you ask that the angels infuse that crystal with the qualities of peace. And then you place it on your circle of your crystal grid. And I like to use like the size of, say, for instance, like a dinner plate, like maybe a 10-inch diameter, but don't feel like you have to limit it to that. You can use one bigger or smaller, but that size works really well for me. And I always start at the north, at the top, and I work my way to the right. So the next one would be like, say, for instance, 2 o'clock, and you can infuse that crystal with the quality of well-being. And then you go to your 3 o'clock, and you can infuse that one with love, and then go to the next one, infuse that one with balance, and go to the next point, infuse that stone with allowing, with whatever qualities, and just go all the way around your circle. And as you're bringing in those qualities, you're asking the angels to bring in vibrancy, to bring in well-being, and to stream in whatever little gotcha it is that animal is missing, or that person might be needing at that time. And then I like to have a representation for that person or that animal. So you could use your card. It's really good to put one into a triangle too, if you feel like they are needing transformation. The little grid that I put the picture on a while ago, I have like a little horse totem, and so I put that in the middle. And before I put it in, I held the horse totem up to my heart, and I asked through the Hermetic laws of similarities and I made a declaration that this mineral totem, that it now represents all aspects of my horse. And I named his name in there, and then I set it in the middle of the grid. And so symbolically, this is setting your horse or your person, even yourself, in the center of these angelic healing, all of these properties that are streaming through with the support and the help of the mineral world and the crystal kingdom. And they're just bringing whatever grace, whatever vibrancy, whatever support that they can bring in. All of the mineral world and the different crystals that work with us, they all have a little bit of a different something that they can offer us. And because we're all created from the 4 elements, it's like our energy matrix. It craves certain frequencies, certain minerals and crystals help us to function more powerfully here in this dimension. So we have a connection to them. It may seem like a very far-fetched, but really not, because of the descent of the soul into form through the 4 elements. So it only makes sense that we can bring about rebalance and vibrancy through calling upon the different qualities in the mineral kingdom, or utilizing the crystals with the help of the angelic kingdom, and sort of pulling it all together. So you create the intention that this crystal grid would open a portal way between the worlds so that the angelic kingdom, the mineral kingdom can come together and bring support for the animal kingdom or for the human kingdom, whoever it is that you're wanting, or whatever it is that you're wanting to bring vibrancy to or to assist. So the Hermetic laws of similarities they come about because of the idea that we're all interconnected, we're all a part of the same one. I am you and you are me. I am an aspect aligned with the sun, with the moon, with the stars, the planets, all of the beings on the earth. And so we can call upon and activate these Hermetic laws of similarities so that we can kind of like transcend the illusion of separateness. And the illusion of separateness is very powerful, and it's very useful because it helps us to get the value of our soul journey here. But there's a point where it's kind of like a turning point where we want to acknowledge our interconnectedness. And by acknowledging this and our alignment with the angelic kingdom, it helps us to be able to bring healing to ourselves, but to others as well. It's hard to do if we are still just totally immersed in the illusion of separateness, because it's like we can't wrap our mind around it. So therefore, we've sort of like made our bed, and the universe just says yes. But when we can acknowledge that we're interconnected and we're all a part of the one, it helps us to kind of get ourselves out of the little picture and into the more powerful I am picture. And that's where we have more ability to step into our magicalness and to manifest deliberately with intention. Okay, so I got to look at my notes here and make sure that I'm staying with what I wanted to bring through. Crystal necklace. Okay, so another thing that I wanted to go over is the idea of using a pendulum to help you get permissions to send healing energy to someone. It's just it's not like absolutely necessary to get concrete permission, as long as we have our prayer where I intend to give you freely, you are free to accept or reject this healing. But it can be very helpful in maybe deciding like what somebody's commitment, or if they're working a disease or working a situation that has karma involved. So I'm going to see if I can get to my pendulum here. So I have a handful of different pendulums that I like to use, and this is one of them. And my little candle is it's kind of burning out here. But one of the ways that you can bless your move my candle up here, energize your pendulum, and you can also clear using your pendulum. But you want to always to choose a pendulum and then create a relationship with that pendulum. And you do that by blessing it to the elements and charging it with your heart energy and keeping it protected in a silk bag anytime that you're not using that pendulum. And after you use it, you always want to clear it. And this is one way to clear is over the fire element. So another way to clear is using smudge, and I do a combination of both of them. So I'll use the sage, and so I've got it going here in my little fire container. So let's see if you can see it up here. Okay, so I have my smudge bow going here, and so now I can clear it through the smudge. So now you know that there's no negative energies that are lingering on your through your pendulum, so you're more apt to get better answers, or answers that are aligned with the truth. Pendulums can be messed with by ugly entities, so they can be jacked with because they're a pretty simple tool to kind of manipulate. So that's why you want to take every precaution before you do anything with a pendulum, that your matrix is clear. So some good healing protocols to do that is create the intention through the angelic realm that they back out of your personal space all negative entities, energies, vibrations, and spirits, germs, virus, disease, sadness, enemy patterns, ugly thought forms, ugly words, anything negative, to banish it out of your space. And then what you want to do is to intend a container around you. So ask your angels to set a bubble of light and protection and love and a high vibration around your aura, and to infuse you with the golden white light and healing love, or whatever you feel drawn to kind of being in your personal space. And then when you've done all of that, you can be pretty sure that there's nobody that's going to jack with your pendulum. Like, there's not going to be any lower level entities that are going to say, let's mess with MarVeena, and so you'll get a better quality of information. So you can ask that your pendulum connect you to your person that you're thinking about working with. So for instance, we'll work with my mother. I'm going to try to get this up here. So Barbara Wells, Barbara Wells, Barbara Wells. I intend to give you freely all that heals, harmonizes, blesses, and nourishes. You are free to accept or reject this healing today. Thy will be done, not mine. I call upon the spirit of Barbara Wells and ask for permission to proceed with this healing today. So my pendulum is moving in a clockwise direction, and so that's going to be a yes. If my pendulum were to move in a counterclockwise direction, that's going to be a no. If it stops, then it's kind of a I don't know, or you need to reword your question. Don't ask two questions in one sentence. So for instance, it's like you don't want to confuse your tool, and don't ask trick questions either. It's like if you're, I don't know, the angels, it's like they don't want to mess with our like lower ego stuff. And so it's like when you want to be clear about why you're doing what you're doing, and to be sincere. That's, I think, the big point there. Anytime that you ask the angelic realm to be involved, you want to be very polite and very sincere, and know why you're doing what you're doing. You don't go to the angelic realm with wah baby stuff or foolish stuff, because they don't suffer fools easily, has been my experience. So I'm just telling you. All right, so when you're it's like when you're training your pendulum, you want to you create a your baseline question, so that you can get your you can teach it how you want it to work with you. So for instance, is my name MarVeena? So my pendulum is spinning to the right. Is my name Billy? So my pendulum is now spinning to the left. So that it's like you're teaching it, okay, when I ask a question and I'm getting an affirmation, then it spins to the right. And whenever, I'm getting a no or a negative, it spins to the left. This is a very just kind of an oversimplified view of working with the pendulum, but you ask the angels to work with you and through you and by you. You create that intention, and that's going to kind of help set you up for success, to be able to move forward with your prayer or your requests for healing for someone. So after you have got your permission, and remember, this is just one of the protocols. There are other methods that you can use too. But after you've gotten your permission, so you've asked Barbara Wells, do I have your permission to stream this healing energy to you? Then it's like you can move forward with your angelic healing prayer ceremony or request, and you know that you've got your insurance policy in place because you've got permissions. You've got the permissions needed. So another thing that is important is really engaging whoever it is that you're working with and kind of getting them on board, and especially helping them to understand their soul journey and why and how they might have possibly co-created illness or maybe accidents or different types of situations that have put them out of balance, that they've got out of balance. Sometimes we have things that were set into place before we were born, and I feel like it's still possible to claim responsibility, but it's like that person really has to open their mind up and be willing to understand that we have other soul journeys, and sometimes our karma is not finished in those journeys, or we have set into motion different situations that are sort of coming to a head in this lifetime, and there might be a price to pay for that, or there in order for us to get back into balance and well-being, it's like we have to claim responsibility and we have to work through our personal pieces. That might look like doing some self-hypnosis, doing some healing work with the angels, maybe some clearing work with the archangel realm. We can work through our dreams and ask that our angels would bring to us ideas about what might have set a disease into motion, or a traumatic relationship, and what we might need to do in order to shift that energy, in order that we can come back into balance and to well-being and to health, or whatever it is that we feel like we need to shift. So if you don't have a pendulum like this, you can use I have used a needle and thread. You can use a necklace. This necklace would be hard because it's on a leather chain, so it wouldn't spin very well. But if you took the metal off of it, you could use that, like put it on a piece of thread. But a needle and a thread is a very classic, very old school way of creating a pendulum, and it kind of goes back through modern gypsies, where they might not have pendulums, but they had a needle with a thread, and they needed to kind of get an answer to a question. And so this was one way to do it, but there's always more ways. Another crystal that I like to use is, and this is one that I use more than anything, is I use this crystal. So this is my favorite one. So you could tell I've got a lot of experience with that one. But choose one that just feels good for you, and you can have one that is a personal pendulum, and then you can have others that you might use for your healing work or for other situations. But always clear them with fire or with a smudge mixture before and after you use them. And that way you know that you're going to get some clear answers to your questions. A thing to really keep on your mind, especially when working with the angels for healing purposes, is to be in vibrational harmony with the truth. That is so huge. If we're not aligned with the truth, it's like, I don't know, it's like we can be messed with a lot easier. And spirit can take advantage of that chaos energy and use it against us. Okay, so I have a few more pieces of information that I wanted to go over, and I know that we're over our time right now, and some of you may have to get back to work or do some other things. So if you have questions that you want to ask, you can just put them into the comments, and I will see if I can find them. Sometimes it's hard for me to see the comments when they're coming across, but because my screen is little, but I will see if I can see those comments. Otherwise, after the video is over, then, or the Facebook Live is over, you will still be able to watch it and to see the rest. I just have a few more pieces that I wanted to work with, and that's calling in the archangels. In particular, I like to use Raphael, Michael, Gabriel, and Uriel. Did you see that little bubble? I think when we were on Raphael, and that's like my overlighting archangel is Raphael. So, but anyhow, those are 4 of the archangels that I like to use quite a bit. But there are many more angels and archangels and in the angelic kingdom that that are dedicated to bringing assistance to souls that are going through the incarnation process and helping us to stay in balance, to get in balance, to accomplish the journey of our soul, and to really get the opportunities here and get the lessons and integrate them in a beauty way. So there are many ways that we can use the archangels in order to bring healing opportunities to people that we love, or even to ourselves. And so, for instance, I wanted to show you I've got my notes over here. One of the ways that we can bring a healing is to create a script, and this particular script is going to the archangel Uriel. And so Uriel is an archangel that you can call upon to help you with different sorts of things, and you could use your pendulum to see which archangel might be the most in vibrational harmony with whatever situation that you're wanting to address your question to. But the book that I think that I would like to recommend in order to make use of this information is called The Sacred Magic of the Angels. And I'm going to hold it up here for you. It's out of print, I think, so it's hard to find, but if you can find it, buy it. And it'll probably be wildly expensive on Amazon. But if you can find a copy, get a copy. If you can't find a copy, I have almost all of those teachings are in my Angelic course. I have a Manifesting with the Angels course on my website, and it has in-depth. It's like about 45 days of, I send an email every day with a lesson on working with the angelic realm for different purposes. And so today our purpose is with healing, but you can address them for many, many different things. So the basic idea is that you're creating a petition, and it's like a letter to spirit. So up here you have what are called their call signs. So this in the center is the symbol of Uranus and the symbol of Aquarius, and this is the lightning bolt that is connected to the Archangel Uriel. And the script that we use, they're called angelic scripts. There are two of them. They're known as the passing of the river, and then the other one is it's the Theban script. And so they're letters that are they vibrate to the angels. They're really, really powerful. So once you put your letter, that's like your address on the envelope. It's going to the Archangel Uriel. And here in the body, you write down what it is that you're praying for. And you address them in however, and I talk about this in my angelic program, that you address them and, to the great throne angel Uriel. They all have a little bit of a different, like how a protocol for how you call to them. So remember what I said, anytime you're talking to the angels and the archangels, that you be very respectful. You're going to get a lot more out of your interaction if you can be very respectful. But you put down in the angelic script that they like to read, or that they are known to be in harmony with. You write down what it is that you're wanting. And my suggestion is that you write small. I use big letters so that you all might be able to see this a little bit better. And I'm going to see if I can get it closer. Maybe you can see what I'm talking about. But different angels will have a resonance to different colors. So for instance, with Uriel, you want to use a white paper with green ink, and you write down your intention or your goal. Thank you for helping me to reclaim vibrancy and health in my marriage. That's one thing that Uriel is known for, is helping people with relationship issues, that sort of thing, to resolve issues in a beauty way. So so this one is going out to Gabriel of the moon. So Gabriel is known as the moon angel, and this one is written in the Theban script. And what we have is, we have the sign of Cancer, we have the waxing moon, and then over here we have the lunar corona crown, and it has a little, like a waxing moon in there, and it has a symbol of the sun. And so in the body of the material, we address it to the Archangel Gabriel, and then whatever it is, please bless my horse with your attention and your healing, vibrant energy. And it's a way of sending your petition to the court. And you always want to put your heart into it, literally. So the way that you do that is you hold your script up to your heart and you put your heart energy into it. You ask that this prayer petition be infused with your heart energy, your desire for why you're doing this prayer, what your goal is, where your heart is in asking for this prayer. And then what you want to do is roll it up into a script. And I like to tie it with a ribbon that resonates to that angel. If you can, that's not like 100% necessary, but I think it helps. And you want to keep your script on your altar for whatever amount of days. Each angel has like a period of time that that you should keep it. And if you don't get an answer in that period of time, then that means that the archangel is not going to grant your wish. They're not going to be able to work with that or to bring healing energy into that situation. And you're going to have to either repetition, or you may need to rethink why you're doing what you're doing, or rethink your attitude and your approach to it, and re-strategize and write another petition. The proper way to destroy this, so I think for Gabriel, it's going to be like 28 days. So after 28 days, you're looking for an omen from that archangel. And we're not going to have time to go into all of that. I'm going to do another class down the road all about the different omens and how to interpret those omens to see if it's indeed an answer from that archangel that they're going to work with you. But within 28 days, if they say that they're going to help you, then you're going to, with Gabriel, you might see a spider in a very unusual place or an unexpected place. Moths are also connected to Gabriel. So you might be just minding your own business, brushing your teeth, and a moth kind of flutters up from the kitchen sink, or it will be in an unusual way. And you can't make a omen happen. Like, you can't force it to happen and say, okay, honey, I sent a prayer for Gabriel and I need a spider situation, and can you make one happen? Because that will not work. And but within 28 days, and you'll probably forget, or a lot of times, we'll forget that we have this prayer request out. And when it happens, you'll be like, oh, that is so awesome. But all of the archangels will have a little bit of a different time period. For Uriel, if Uriel is going to work with you, things are going to happen like really fast. It's like everything can unfold just like boom, and you've got your answer. The situation will calm down, or it will shift, it will change. But the signs from Uriel are going to be about omens like a unicorn, just out of the clear blue, if somebody sends you a card and it's got a unicorn on it, then that is a clear sign that Uriel is going to help you. Also, dragonflies. If you're having your tea in the morning and a dragonfly lands on your arm and you have just submitted a prayer petition to the Archangel Uriel, that is a very, very good sign that Uriel is going to help you. On the flip side, if you're sitting there drinking your tea and a dragonfly dive bombs and maybe dies in your tea, then that is not a good omen. So that's the way I would take it anyhow. It's like things are not going to work out exactly the way you wanted them to. But the archangels are a great process it's like a very, very powerful tool in your toolbox in creating these petitions for many, many, many different reasons. All of those symbols in the different angelic alphabets, we may look at them and they look like Greek to us right now, but on a subconscious level, we've engaged with these in other lifetimes, and they are meaningful to us on a soul level. And by writing down our prayer requests and by going through the whole proper formula of addressing them by their station, their rank, or however you're supposed to address them, and then going through the process of writing our intention, our prayer request, signing our name, and it's like we are shifting our consciousness. We're transcending this dimension. Honestly, we're time jumping is what we're doing. And we're creating on a higher level that can filter down into this 3D level. It is an amazing process of choosing, like some of the angels, they want like a pink paper with a blue ink or an orange paper with gold ink. And it's just by going through this whole process of gathering the tools that we need, creating a ceremony to actually do the work and to engage with that archangel and to create this prayer request and then to launch it, send it out into the universe. It is powerful on so many different levels. It's a very effective healing tool for you to put into your toolbox. I really feel like there's some grace with the angels. Like if you make a mistake or you send a request to the wrong angel, sometimes things will happen. Not always. You can't depend on it. For instance, if you send out a prayer request to the Archangel Uriel and it's really not under his purvey, it's not his business, he may like redirect that into like Archangel Raphael's kind of awareness and get you a little bit of help from another archangel. They may not. It's a part of us kind of learning to be deliberate, learning to be specific, and doing our own footwork and kind of setting ourselves up for success like we're doing today. It's like you're gathering some ideas that can help you to be more powerful with how you pray and how you connect to the angelic kingdom. Knowledge is power, but the application and how we put it out into the world is where we really get a sense of how it can bring a blessing into our life. So I'm not seeing any questions right now. If you have any that come up after the class, then just write them down in the comments below, and I will see if I can answer them for you. But check out my Angelic program. I'll include a link to the page in the notes. So if you want to check it out, it's like a 45-day program, and there is a ton of really useful ideas, applications, protocols, for anything that you could think of that you need to pray for, or have a desire to kind of transform some aspect of your life, or how you can be a blessing to somebody else. So I will put that link in the notes here on this page, and you can check it out. And if you have questions, just let me know. But I hope that you've enjoyed this presentation, and it's awesome to be able to talk about the angels. And I just feel like they have been such a huge blessing to my life, especially with all of my animals. And there are so many different things that just pop up with the animals out here. I have like 14 horses and 3 dogs and 2 cats. And then you just have all of the other things that are going on the ranch. So there's always something. And to me, having an ability to get a little bit of divine interaction or divine assistance when I need it, it really has been incredibly useful and helpful. And I intend that blessing for each one of you that are watching this Facebook Live. So I hope you all have a wonderful day, and stay in touch and let me know how things go when you're working with the angels, and what your experience is, because I love to hear from you. So anyhow, have a great day, and I will see you all later. Bye-bye. Take care. Bye.